and welcome back. It's another Confessions podcast. I hope you missed us ever so slightly. Here we present another audio array of terrible tales from the sinful Radio 2 listener, all seeking forgiveness from our caring collective. This week's concise collection includes some marital mix-up mayhem, a devious dress decision, and some shameful sporting shenanigans. Just the three this week because of the bank holiday. Who will you forgive? Today's comes from Sebastian.
Oh,
thank you, Sebastian. Already Matt looking grumpy.
Yeah, this isn't going to go well.
He's assuming there's a beret involved somewhere.
For goodness sake. What's the matter with you?
Dear Father Simon and the merciful meritocrats and pardoning proletariat, I have been prompted, actually more like prodded and poked, to provide this confession following the recent adjudication of the family who'd convinced their daughter that her non-existent older brother had been eaten by a goblin. Which was one of the more memorable ones from recent weeks. A jolly tale that was. So that you may decide my fate, whether I'm to be forever sofa-bound or restored to marital bliss, it's going to be entirely down to us.
Okay.
You may be wondering how much calamity can ensue from something as bland as a calendar. Well, sure, missing a birthday can be embarrassing, but not entirely calamitous. Well, I'm afraid that this will be difficult to forget. This is an interesting story about the effects of modern technology. Firstly, I should explain that my wife and I can be quite a playful couple.
What does that mean?
For example, after watching a scary film, she might conceal herself within a cupboard and jump out on me.
What?
Or hide beneath the bed and grab my ankles, making me squeal with terror. An accidental spillage will quickly descend into a full water fight, leaving the entire house drenched. So you see, my wife and I are not afraid to escalate things, and quickly.
Wow.
With the advent of smartphones, our calendars quickly became digitized. This was great in that we would almost instantly be informed if one of us had accepted a dinner invitation or finally got round to booking some holiday leave. No more double bookings or missed appointments. However, my good lady wife indoors also took to adding entries to my calendar reminding me to take her cups of tea, provide flowers and hugs, or bring her breakfast in bed.
Oh.
Beeps resounding at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Whatever happened to my lie-in? If I was working in the upstairs office, a new entry might appear informing me it was time to give me back rubs, because her indoors was all achy from the gardening. Needless to say, my calendar became full with husbandly duties that I honestly didn't need to be reminded about. One day my wife was working at home. This particular day came in the middle of a very busy few months that saw her work late into the evenings and often into the early mornings. I was missing my dear heart and wanted to let her know that I was thinking of her and looking forward to spending some quality time with her soon. Sitting in front of me, minding its own business, but invitingly nonetheless, was her computer, her work computer, which was unlocked and unattended, and her calendar open, her work calendar. Before I really thought about what I was doing, I had added a thrice-weekly recurring appointment for a marital meeting.
Has this been cleaned up?
What I actually... Yes.
This has been cleaned up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good.
What I actually put was lovey-dovey, cuddly-wuddly, sexy fun time. Just to be clear, this went into the work calendar of my wifey.
Oh, Matt's seething already.
Yes. This is my wifey, my doctor wifey, my very professional wifey, my highly respected biomedical researcher and internationally respected writer wifey.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Father Simon, if it makes any difference at all, I had no idea that she enjoyed what is known in the trade as a shared calendar, that her diary was open and visible to the entire research joint venture, her immediate team, and all of the participating researchers around the world. Well, this was news to me. My dearest beloved didn't discover the reminder when it was due to prompt her later that week. She discovered it when half of the Koreans and some of the Americans had signed on to the appointment.
Saying yes, we'll be there.
For what appeared
Let's
to be
all go round.
lovey-dovey, cuddly-wuddly, sexy fun time.
Yes.
It had gone global faster than a picture of a baby panda sneezing. In my defence, the Koreans didn't seem to really understand, and the Americans just thought it was hilarious. So, Father Simon, I must beg forgiveness from my wife for the enormous embarrassment I caused. Any damage to her professional reputation for asking for lovey-dudley... No, not lovey-dudley, he's someone else. Yes. Cuddly-dudley, sexy fun time. Any damage to her reputation and the reputation of her employer, for upsetting sensibilities and for confusing some eminent Korean scientists. I'm not really worried about the Americans. Am I forgiven or am I sofa-bound for life? Please be lenient, asks very pleasant Sebastian, who falls at the feet of the collective. Well, we remember that Sister Pauline is usually full of dourness
She
and
is,
sternness,
yeah.
but let's see what
Shocked me last time,
what
actually.
she makes of this work calendar error.
You never touch the work computer. You never, ever, ever touch the work computer. You don't know where it's been. You don't know where it's going to go. You just don't go
Yeah,
near
but it's
it.
sitting there
The
inviting
fool.
you, isn't it?
The fool. He was foolish.
She had provoked it, I think.
What? By being busy and working
Well,
hard?
and just adding into his diary.
Yeah, I say, yeah.
8 o'clock.
Well,
cup
you know,
of
I mean,
coffee.
come on now. Who's not texted their other half when they're somewhere else because you want a cup of tea and it's 8:30 and you don't want to get up and get it? We've all done that. Everyone's done that. They have. Anyway, I can completely forgive him. I can almost not forgive him for continuing to refer to her as wifey, but I'll probably forgive him that.
Yeah, it is. It is consistently. I was just reading it the way Sebastian had written it.
Yeah,
Deadly's
all right.
going to speak now.
Well, I forgive as well, actually. It's her fault. She started it. She started all this. And there it was, inviting glowing in the room there.
No, on the
So-
work computer she didn't.
Yeah, but, you know, it's all good fun, isn't it? No one took it too seriously. Reputation is fine. It's all intact. And the Koreans, they can have it all explained to
Well,
them
how do you
later.
know about this? You know, she is a leading,
I'm reading between the lines.
a highly respected biomedical researcher, an internationally respected writer.
Yeah,
It's only human.
they all say that.
Lovey-dovey, cuddly
They all
wuddly.
say that. Seb will get away with it.
Sexy fun time.
Well done, Seb.
Let's see what Brother Matthew makes.
Well,
of it.
I'm torn on this one because originally I couldn't. When they started talking, or when she started talking about how they would grab each other's legs after they'd watched a scary movie, I can't abide those kind of prankster couples. Oh no, I get sidelined with them at a party. Oh, is that my phone going? Sorry, gotta go. But putting on the, I do like the idea of the sexy fun time, lovely cuddly wuddly. I love that. I love the fact that goes around the world, and I love the fact that the South Koreans said, "Yeah, we'll have a bit of that." So I'm going to forgive just for that.
Here we have a confession from Kim in the Greater Manchester area. Let's keep it as loose as that. Wow. Dear Father Simon and the Forgiving Collective, in January, I received an exciting phone call telling me the date of a friend's OBE investiture at Buckingham Palace, followed by a champagne lunch. Now there's a good sort of grabbing opening paragraph, I would suggest. The excitement for my very dear friend was followed by panic for myself. 7 weeks to find an outfit fit for royal eyes. A lot of knowing nods now from chaps up and down the
We've
country.
all done it.
Knowing, have you not? Would you have a frock ready to go for 7
I
weeks?
have, instantly.
Yeah,
I
okay.
can do it.
Knowing how unlucky I am at finding outfits for special occasions, I left no stone unturned in my quest for some acceptably posh clobber. I began planning my mission like a military expedition, starting with some reconnaissance online to get the lay of the land. Upon walking into the first shop I visited, I found a great dress. I tried it on. It was beautiful and it fitted, but was it a little bit too dressy? I realised I would need some options here. Couldn't possibly put all my eggs into one sartorial basket. That would be reckless. I decided to visit a local large shopping precinct as well. Now, this shopping trip proved successful, with the purchase of 2 dresses which I liked.
Two?
Yeah, but I didn't feel that either was actually the one. Oh, right. She's just buying loads and loads.
Yeah, obviously. Great fun.
Now, in hindsight, the amount of dressiness of that first dress seemed just right. So I hopped back into the car, went back to the first shop that I went to. I got to the rail that I needed. There were plenty of dresses there, but no longer in my size. My palms started sweating and my heart started a-thumping as I furiously flicked hangers around searching for my dressy dress. I'd only tried it on hours before. What on earth was going on? Devastated. I took a different size. I tried it on. It was like a big, baggy bin liner. All big, binny and baggy. As they tend to be. All
And lining.
floppy and flouncy it was. I stepped out of the changing room to try it in a different mirror. Even worse, I looked like a hot air balloon.
There's also blank looks from the chaps on this side. They go, I don't know what she's on about.
Well, I think it's perfectly straightforward.
Yes,
Deadly
you know,
sounds like he
I'm-
shopped for frocks all
I'm
his
almost
life.
there. I'm almost there.
Anyway, then, all of a sudden,
Yes.
in the reflection behind me, I noticed the reserved rail. And there was the same kind of dress. The thing is, was it my size? Well, I walked to the rail and I pulled it out. Looked at the label. Unbelievably, it was perfect. It was my size. The only thing was, to my horror, over the hanger hook was a large piece of paper that read, "For Emily, to be collected Saturday." Well, today was Saturday. Oh, the horror. and I needed that dress. I knew how hard it would be to source the right size in time anywhere local. Let's face it, it would be impossible. Yes, there'd be some, I can call around for you, but we all know how that ends. It ends with no dress. And I had to have a dress. I was going to see the Queen. This is Her Royal Majesty, the Queen. Not sure you got the terminology quite right there. No. What did Emily need it for? Was she going to see the Queen? Excuse me? I think she absolutely wasn't.
You don't know.
I had royal prerogative here. I looked around. There was nobody about. I whipped the dress off the rail. I went back to the changing room. The bin bag dress went onto the hanger for Emily to pick up a little later on. Emily's dress went straight onto my hanger. I swiftly exited the changing room. I felt a bit like Tom Cruise in a Mission Impossible film after he'd pulled off an astounding piece of espionage at CIA headquarters, flouncing out the front door with some top-secret files under his arm. Except...
It's a dress.
Yes.
Something like that.
On this occasion,
and I'm taller than Tom Cruise, says Kim. Well, we're all taller than Tom Cruise.
Oh!
Avoiding the upstairs sales assistant who might recognise the dress, I went downstairs to an unsuspecting clerk who probably specialised in handbags and wouldn't know a bin bag dress from a dressy dress. I paid and left as quickly as possible. I had my dress, everyone. At a girls' night in, the 3 dresses were tried on and everyone decided unanimously that Emily's dress was indeed the one. My guilt consumed me. I confessed to them. They all said that they would have done exactly the same thing.
Oh, really?
My guilt did not subside. The dress stayed in my wardrobe for 6 weeks until the big day. Every time I looked at it, I wondered if Emily could have had her dress after all and whether I could have ordered one in time. When the the special day arrived...
when the big day...
Worth a try.
I looked $1 million and had many comments. And you know what? It's what the Queen would have wanted. A line we've never had.
No.
In a confession before.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
I know that somehow I had royal approval for what I did. She does, after all, sign the laws onto the statute book. So basically what I did was fine. I still feel a little bit of guilt for Emily. Can't ever be truly forgiven. Kim, in the Greater Manchester area, Emily was absolutely banking on this frock. She had it reserved. It had her name on it. And our friend Kim snatched it just because the Queen wanted to see her. And, well, actually, it was a friend. Queen couldn't be bothered, really. Pauline.
What an awful, awful, bad person. That's a terrible thing to do. Absolutely awful. Totally terrible. Totally unforgiven. I've never heard something so awful to do.
Really?
What did she know Emily needed the dress for? Perhaps it was the most important date of her entire life. Perhaps she was looking forward to the event she was going to for months. Kim had 6 weeks to resource the dress. Emily was likely to have 5 minutes. What a nasty piece of work.
Do you think? There may well be a gender divide on reaction to this story.
Can I just check a fact with Pauline? This sort of frock, which you can imagine, it's all very nice and all the rest of it. Could you get another one made, or could one have been supplied in that 6 weeks?
Yes.
Excellent. That could be a vital fact.
Brilliant.
Wouldn't it be? Could be a vital fact,
Fabulous.
my lad.
I reckon next time there's a royal wedding, I think Deadly should do commentary, because he'd be able to say, all very nice and all that.
But let me just tell you. And also, a lot could have happened in those 6 weeks. She could have come to a deal with Emily, couldn't she, about when they wear the dress between them, just to get through the crisis?
I don't think so.
No, people don't share, do they?
No, I don't think so.
They don't, do they? That's the problem.
What are you saying?
Not forgiven. Not forgiven.
Brother,
that's bad.
right.
That was bad.
Here's the thing. I didn't even know there's one of these reserved rails in shops. And frankly, if there is one, that's where I'm going first. Because that's obviously where the good stuff is kept.
Yes.
Because
No,
people
it's
have
the right
wanted it
sized
reserved.
stuff. It's the
So
right
I am going to
size.
go to that one. And which of us can sit here and say that if we've all gone to shops, particularly when there's sales on, and found something and thought, yeah, I might buy that, but I'll make sure no one else buys it by putting it on a different rail, and therefore I can come back.
you who does that, is it?
We've all done it. No one can sit here and say they've
That's
never
why
done
we can
that.
never find
so
anything.
I am definitely going to forgive, because we'd have all done the same thing. And if I had the opportunity to go in and pick something off the reserve rail, I would definitely do it.
Shocking.
Okay,
Yes,
well,
I'm shocked by that.
He's a bad person.
Gender divide. Tonight's tale comes from Peter. You already know who's in our collective. Father Simon, it is with heavy heart and pious embarrassment that after 20 years of shame, I now ask for the forgiveness of the collective for my sins. Take you back to June 1993, when I was the proud father of a newborn son, Robbie, who was on show for the first time at a large gathering at the school sports day for the infant and junior school, at which his 3 sisters attended. Yes, it's a sports day confession, everybody.
Brilliant.
School sports days, as you know, are things of extremes, lurching from sunny, glorious celebrations of humankind to squalid, freezing cold occasions of misery. Most family members turn up with a smile in their hearts, with the sole intent of cheering on everyone, from the perennial rosette winners, you might have noticed have been written in the last few days, to Les Lanternes Rouges.
Oh, well done.
Who are usually persuaded against their better judgment by teachers to take part in the sack race. Anyway, one little girl benefited year on year from her competitive mother, who was always a judge. I'm afraid to use bad language with ladies and children present, but she was a low-down, dirty cheat. That's what she was, in capital letters. There could be, for example, clear daylight between the real winner and her daughter, but the winner's sash always went to her offspring. The father of this little girl was also unsurprisingly a competitive dad, and for 3 years running had turned up on sports day in his official amateur athletics running vest, silk running shorts, no excuse ever, and on one occasion a pair of running spikes, which he was asked not to wear again. You know the type, Father Simon. He would actually be warming up for 30 minutes trackside while the kids were running round doing their races. I call it offensive, says Peter. When the parents' 100 metres was announced, Linford, as we called him, would jog to the start line, and each year blast out of the blocks, leaving for dead the rest of the dads, mostly still in their suits, holding a 99 flake, having been bustled to the start line from the safety of the nearby ice cream van. Linford's wife and daughter would be up at the winning line, mother holding not 1 but 2 stopwatches. Upon winning, he would be informed whether he'd beaten his all-comers record time of something like 11.2 seconds before beginning his warm-down exercises. We have had enough of this guy. On this particular year, parents were called to the starting line and he crouched low in his stance, silk shorts stretched and clinging to his lean frame.
Hello.
Unnecessary.
Too much detail there, yeah.
I said silk shorts just not forgiven.
He just enjoyed reading that bit, that's all.
Got no chance, this guy.
No, he isn't. As the gun went off, he surged into what would have been an unassailable lead if it had not been for me and another like-minded father. We were positioned either side of him and both stepped across his path. We were both ex-rugby players, adept at the now illegal shoulder charge tackle. He went high, I went low. In short, Father Simon, we took him out. To onlookers, it would have looked like 2 clumsy blokes, unused to exercise, stumbling out of their lanes. But we knew exactly what we were doing. Down he went in a heap of legs and arms and silk entwined with those of me and my co-conspirator. As he tried manfully to regain his feet and get back into the race, which we all knew he could probably still win from here, I accidentally grabbed hold of his silky shorts to steady myself.
Oh, no.
Down they came and down he went, with an anguished wail of despair like a wounded animal. I'm not proud to say I had to engineer another body check to make sure he was unable to resume his pursuit of the aged pack of suits who were ambling gently, wheezing and spluttering towards the finish line. When I eventually regained my balance, he was able to stand up at last, and he was just in time to see a grey-haired grandfather cross the line in an astonishing 16 seconds. The first new winner of the event for 3 years, while Linford's wife and daughter watched open-mouthed and moist of eye at their hero's fall from grace. We apologised to Linford and suggested maybe he'd like to make amends to his daughter by winning the mixed egg and spoon race later. Well, to our surprise, he took us up on the offer and arrived at the start line, silky shorts and running vest glimmering again in the sunlight. He carefully selected his spoon and then chose an egg, which were actually potatoes, so they could be picked up when dropped. He set off at a startling pace down the track, but then dropped his egg on several occasions, whilst I, running smoothly and without dropping my egg, swept past him and crossed the line to win the prize. A double fail for loser Linford. He left with nothing. Now, I don't ask the collective for forgiveness for conspiring with another dad and taking him out with my shoulder. I do not ask forgiveness for pulling him down when he tried to get to his feet, nor for repeating this offence. Linford got all he got, deserved all he got. The smiling, silky, short-wearing, athletic, top-wearing professional that he doubtless is. I do, however, ask for absolution for winning the egg and spoon race by jamming the handle of the spoon into the potato so that it could not fall off no matter how fast I ran. Yeah. I seek forgiveness for cheating my fellow dads out of a fair race by illegal use of the old spoon handle trick. I didn't know about the spoon handle trick, but anyway, apparently it's a well-known thing. Anyway, I think there's a picture of a sports day which many of us will notice. There is always one father or mother who is taking it to extremes and is always about 10 years younger than you and then wins. What do you think, Sister Pauline?
I hate sports days. Always hated them. And all their guises. I hated them more as a parent than as a child.
Did you ever do the mother's race?
Them. Absolutely not, because we had one of those as well.
One of those competitive mums?
Competitive mums.
Didn't you toss for caber or something like that?
That's right. That's what we did in Scotland, where it's only right and proper.
Throw the hammer.
The boot. Throwing the boot.
I think Nigel's just leaving again.
I did that recently. It's remarkably invigorating. If you get it, it's all about the technique, isn't it?
That's right. It's all about the technique.
Isn't it, Pauline? You know.
Yeah.
It's not all about the big lads.
Tossing the caber. Yeah. Anyway, back to the point. I am completely forgiving him of this because obviously he couldn't do the double body check trick and he had to beat this Linford chappie twice to get the full rounded humiliation effect and revenge upon him. So yeah, no, fine, that's fine.
It's a very nice image. I think he probably had a secret round of applause from everybody else as they saw Linford body checked. What do you think, novice Nige?
Well, I was with Peter all the way until the confession, but he's really confessing out. The one that he would like an absolution for is the fact that he cheated in the egg and spoon. I've never heard of an egg and potato race. I've only ever had potato.
Yeah, they do it. Yeah, it's quite common.
Oh, I still do the spoon, and
the spoon is fine. It's the egg.
But Linford, yeah, well, yes.
Potato and egg.
Potato and egg race. That's good. You've got to balance the egg on the potato.
Oh, well, that would be interesting. I don't know. You could make some omelette or something, or a tortilla. But no, I mean, I also love the fact that Linford turned out to be not coordinated at all as well. But Peter has cheated and his mates out of the fact because it's the egg and spoon. But therefore, for that bit alone, everything else I forgive him for, but not for the bit at the end, which right at the end of the death, he said he'd like absolution for.
Brother Matthew.
The thing you have to ask here is how bad was the competition that this guy gets body checked, then gets his shorts pulled down, and then they have to pull him back as well, yes. Just so that he can't. How bad were they? These
Very
people
bad.
were on all fours doing the 100 metres. I don't take part in the. Basically, I'm under express because I'm a bit of a competitive dad.
Yes.
And I am under express instructions never to be there when the race happens because otherwise I would be getting my spikes on. Nothing wrong with that. So I am going to forgive. No, I'm not. I'm not going to forgive.
At the last minute.
Changed it, yes. See how you like it, Peter.
Well, they were this week's confessions. Pretty good, I think. Send in your shadowy secret, please. Maybe inspired by one of those. Do you feel guilty? You know you should do. It's confessions@bbc.co.uk. More in a week, and the Weekly Mayo available to download now. Thank you so much.